Well, hello. Today on the Louise M Empowerment podcast series, I have the great pleasure of having Jennifer Bicknell along with me today. Jennifer has been practicing law for almost 30 years. She spent 15 years as a litigator at Minter Ellison, followed by 8 years as a partner at Kennedy's, before founding her workplace law firm, Bicknell Law Consulting, in 2015. Whilst Jennifer does the traditional lawyery stuff like drafting employment contracts and resolving disputes, she spends most of her time working with clients as an extension of their business, strategically advising them on how to prevent small workplace issues becoming big, hairy ones. She's passionate about helping people have the tricky but necessary conversations they need to have to thrive in their career and business. She does this through her day-to-day consulting, as well as her online courses, one-on-one coaching and team workshops. If you need help finding the right words for a tricky conversation, Jennifer is your person. Welcome, Jennifer Bicknell.
Thank you very much, Louise. Lovely to be here.
I'm really excited, and I must be a little bit nervous because I don't know that I've ever actually had a proper conversation with you, although we have been at the same conferences a couple of times.
We have.
Business Chicks. And I've watched you develop, and that sense of fun. I just love that sense of fun that you have as well. Even though you're, in law, it's a very serious business. So it's really nice to have that yin and yang personality. I love it. So today, sorry, you're going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I think that lawyers are people too. And I think it's important that in any profession that you're approachable. So whether it's through my newsletter, which contains both, cases and suggestions for great TV shows, I like to balance a bit of law and a bit of fun.
Yeah. Now, something we do have in common is, well, I do like a sense of fun as well, but Paris, and you have Paris in the background there. And
I do.
Hopefully we will get back there before too long. So yeah, that's nice to have that in the background to look at as well. Look, today we're talking about empowerment, and I'm really intrigued to interview women and find out where their empowerment journey started. Was this in their childhood, or is it something they've really had to work at developing, or did it come quite naturally to them? So extra thing you've done to feel empowered, and then how you're now helping others to feel empowered through your business. So I think let's start off with, what's the definition of empowerment for you?
I think for me, it's confidence. So for me, feeling empowered is about having the confidence to do the things that I want to do and the things that I need to do.
Beautiful. Short, easy. Follow. Fantastic. And do you think it presents physically or emotionally, or both, this confidence?
For me, it's more emotionally and psychologically, I think. I think it's like a mental state, you know what I mean? Like we humans are pretty good at, telling ourselves stories in our head, worrying about, ghosts that aren't really there. And so I think for me, it's about feeling confident and emotionally and psychologically, owning whatever it is I'm doing. And I'm fortunate enough, I guess, that I've never really had to worry about the physical side of it,
Yeah. Just, sometimes, when you're feeling confident, you might tend to stand taller, or I don't know, that's how I sort of am. When I'm feeling confident, I stand taller, but it doesn't obviously have to be that way for everybody. So yeah,
I guess you're right. And I'm a big fan of the power pose,
Yeah.
So yes, I get what you're saying with that, but for me it all sort of starts with sort of the head and the heart, I think.
Yeah. So on that note, you said it starts in the head and the heart. As a child, like, who makes up your family? Do you have siblings? And where were you in that sibling lineup, perhaps? And did that empowerment start as a child for you?
I'm the eldest of two. I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me, and I'm very much the oldest child in the traditional sense. And yes, I think I did have a sense of empowerment as a child, but I didn't have that label on it. You know what I mean? I think
Yes,
it's
of
the
course.
sort of
You
thing
know
that
what
you
it
look,
was then.
no, you look back and you realize that you were very fortunate that, you know, I had a lovely childhood. I had great parents, and they, you know, created a beautiful home where, you know, we felt happy and safe, and so I think that everything sort of sprang from there.
Yeah. Did you know? Was there anyone else? You know, obviously your parents gave you confidence and that sense of, you know, you were valued and heard. Was there anyone else in your life, you know, grandparent or teacher or anyone else that encouraged you to be the best version of you as a child?
Yeah, so both of my parents left school when they were 14 and 15 because their families couldn't afford for them to stay at school. It was a financial thing. And they both decided very early on in their marriage that they wanted their children to have whatever opportunities they wanted to have. And they were determined that money would not be a reason why we didn't get those opportunities. So I always grew up knowing that there was no reason why I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, you know, provided I put in the hard yards. And well, I guess looking back, I mean, it's pretty amazing that, like, neither of my parents, you know, they didn't resent the fact that they were denied. You know, my mum wanted to be a teacher, but you know, she couldn't be. But her great aunt, or her aunt, my great aunt, you know, really supported her when she left school and sort of helped her go through secretarial college. And so my great aunt also took great pride in, I guess, pushing me to become the first, you know, member of the family to go to university. And so she was a big cheerleader of mine, which was, you know, lovely. And I was also really fortunate to have some pretty terrific school teachers who encouraged me along the way. And, you know, there was ABBA, because, you know, they encouraged me to sing in the lounge room, which I did. And, you know, I'd like to think that that's where I got my sense of, you know, performance and fun, is, you know, but watching lots of my favourite music stars and lots of TV shows. So
I have seen you dressed up, Jennifer, photos of you dressed up, particularly those
love a dress up
conferences. So yeah, it's wonderful that you were brought up with that real sense that you can do, not people telling you that you can do, but you're not believing it. You actually really believed you could do that, which was wonderful. It's a wonderful start. Do you believe that really helped you go into your adult life, transition into adult life more easily?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, it's a bit chicken and egg, isn't it? I was always really driven. You know, I like to win, you know, not in an evil way, but, you know, I like to succeed. And I was always pretty competitive at whatever I did. And I think it was because I was always told I could achieve things if I worked really, really hard. And both my parents worked really hard. Like, Dad ended up going and studying at night for 10 years to get the qualifications he would have got if he'd been able to get his education, you know, the traditional way, by going to university. So I guess I really respected my parents' work ethic. And it was funny, when I got my HSC results, I had actually planned to continue working in a bank, and because I've got a job over the holidays working in a bank, as you do, and I was going to study part-time, and they sat me down and they said, no, we've worked our whole lives to make sure that you can do it, not the easy way, but, you know, go and experience university, like, you know, do it the, you know, the way, you know, you want to do it, by, you know, going full-time. And so they talked me out of sort of doing the part-time route, and I'm really glad I did, because I, you know, absolutely loved being at uni.
Yeah, and half the time.
Yes, particularly since it was commerce and law, so it's a 5-year degree anyway. But yeah, they really encouraged that, and so it was just an ongoing, I guess, presence that they always, it was always there, but not something, you know, you consciously thought about.
Yeah, I really love the fact that the way you're saying it, your parents, encouraged you, but they weren't demanding it of you.
No,
It's more a sense that they felt you had the capacity and you were able to do it and wanting you to have the best life you could have. So, yeah, I really love that because there is that other way of demanding your child goes to uni when they're not really wanting to. So
no, they weren't tiger parents at all.
Yeah.
But they were very encouraging.
Yeah. So did you go straight into a law firm when you finished law?
Yeah, so at the end of fourth year of uni, you can do what's called a summer clerkship. So I did a summer clerkship, and that was with Minter Ellison, and they offered me a graduate job. So I ended up staying there for 14 years. It seems weird saying that now because, people change jobs so much more frequently now, but I ended up spending 14 years at Minter's, and then a group of us, 20 odd people of us, left there in 2006, and we started up Kennedy's, which is it's an English firm, but we started up the Australian office of Kennedy. So and I was there for 9 years, and then I started my own firm. So I've got this longevity of employment, with the same people, and absolutely loved working with all of them. And it was only really I sort of had an epiphany one day and decided to start my own law firm.
Well, tell us about that. I love that story. You went to hear someone speak.
I did. I went to a Seth Godin concert. I didn't even really know much about Seth Godin, but I went and heard him speak, and I was perfectly happy where I was in my job. I loved the people I worked with. I loved, the work I did. And Seth said, amongst other brilliant things, pick yourself. And it was weird because it was sort of something I thought I'd been doing my whole life anyway. But the word just really resonated with me, and I realized that I'd always had this desire to run my own firm or have my own business. But because I'd been happy in what I was doing, I just did it the traditional way. I mean, I'd only ever had 2 jobs post university, and both of them with the same group of people. Like I left one firm to go with the same people to start up another one.
Yeah.
So I'd been working with the same people for 24 years. But I realized that I did have this sort of urge to start my own business. So with very little planning, very little savings, because, I have this addiction to going to Paris, I just decided to start my own firm, and did it with the blessing and support of the firm I was leaving, and actually continued doing work with them for the first sort of 4 or 5 years after I left. But it was really interesting. When I told my father what I was doing, he said to me, I think the exact words were, well, about bloody time. I always knew you'd run your own business. I don't know what took you so long.
Yeah. Again, he knew you had it in you, but
yeah,
support, but not push. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice. So what other things have you done? I mean, you obviously have this great sense of confidence and you can do, and how 2 words, what to back yourself, changed your world a little. But what other things? I mean, you are, you do a lot of things with business chicks. Have you been on their travels? Where's that leadership come from in you?
Yes, so I've done the LA and the New York study tours. And I have to say, one of the best days of my entire life was the day that we spent at the New York Fire Department training place in New York. It was extraordinary.
Again, dressing up, were you?
We were dressing up. We wore the full outfits, and we climbed stairs, and we put out fires, and we, rescued people. I rescued 2 babies out of a smoke-filled building. Well, 2 dolls, but yeah. But it was more about talking to the firefighters, between doing those things and hearing the stories of 9/11 and hearing about the stories of, belonging to a particular fire station and the teamwork that goes with working together. And it was just an extraordinary day. And I'm one of these people who, given the choice between like reading a piece of fiction or reading a business book, I'd rather read a business book. like the only podcasts I listen to are pretty much, businessy ones. Like, I just love it. I don't really see it as work. And that's one of the things that I really noticed changed once I started my own business was, I spent a lot more time sort of, learning about leadership and those sorts of things. Whereas when I was, working in the law firm, I was really, focusing on just learning about the law that I was doing. Whereas now I, obviously stay up to date with legal issues, but I'm learning more and more about management and leadership, and because I'm working so closely with my clients in their businesses rather than just giving them legal advice. I think it's a really different way of me working.
Yeah. So is that so you're gaining more knowledge and that sense of empowerment through your podcast, your books, and business courses and networking? Is there anything else, or is that what you put it down to, that you've achieved this great sense of confidence and empowerment through those things?
Well, one of my clients has got me sitting on, we call it an advisory board, and there's two gentlemen and we advise the CEO and sole director on, running the business, which is a very large, successful business. And I'm loving doing that because it's a chance to bring together my legal knowledge and work with, other people looking at, strategies for running this fantastic business. So I'd love to do more of advisory work for businesses. But I guess the difference now between now what I do and what I did 10 years ago was, instead of, I guess, just dispensing legal advice and being quite transactional, what I'm doing more and more now is I have clients who I've worked with for a long time, and I'm sort of at the end of the phone. And I introduced something when I started my business. Lawyers have this thing where I can say they now because I don't do it. Once I started my business, I said I banned the 6-minute unit. I just don't believe in it. I never understood why we thought we should charge people in 6-minute blocks. So I charge in real minutes. And it's because I wanted every client I had to never not pick up the phone to ask me a silly question that would take 2 minutes for me to answer, because they were worried I was going to charge them for 6.
Yeah.
So I like to think that clients could just pick up the phone and just ask a silly question, but there's no such thing as a silly question. And what I find is that I've built relationships with clients whereby they ring me before something goes pear-shaped, or because I work so closely with them, I know the people in their business, and so, there's no time for an employee to become toxic, because as soon as I get a whiff of an employee, misbehaving, I'm sort of holding the CEO or the GM or whoever, the HR manager, accountable and saying, and what are we going to do about this person? And so we're really being on the front foot and proactive about dealing with issues in their businesses. And that's what I really enjoy, because I feel like I'm actually really adding value, not just coming in and fixing things when it's all gone wrong.
Yeah. So, and I'm also wondering how through your business you're empowering others, and you have these workshops aside from those one-to-one conversations you have for someone in a difficult situation and wants a solution, but you have these workshops and you do like to help people with those difficult conversations. So that's empowering others, isn't it? Helping them deal with those difficult conversations.
Yeah, because I realised, and that was actually one of the reasons why I started my business, was I realised that all these really lovely people were being sued for employment law breaches. And I did an analysis of a lot of, I literally sat down and did an analysis of the last, 3 months worth of cases. And I realised that almost every one of them could have been avoided if someone had had a difficult conversation, a few months before. But instead they'd ignored a problem, or they didn't know how to deal with it. So they just sort of, went, la, 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 it'll go away by itself, which, it doesn't. And so I realised that the key to preventing workplace disputes was people having conversations when they needed to have them. And no one was teaching people how to do it. And it's because I guess it's one of those skills that we're supposed to pick up along the way, but if you don't get taught it and you don't learn it, then it's too embarrassing once by the time you're a senior manager or even a middle level manager to put your hand up and say, oh, I don't know how to have a difficult conversation. And so I'm sort of on a mission now to teach people how to have them. And so I've created an online course. It's only 1 hour. It's easy to do. Go to my website and it's there. Or I do one-on-one sessions or workshops. And I just help the person work out what their Achilles heel is, because there's really 3 main reasons why people avoid having difficult conversations. And so I help diagnose them with what their problem is, and then we come up with a solution for how to fix it. So
fantastic. Yeah, so I guess, you know, you're helping others feel empowered by solving difficult situations for them, and hopefully without it going to court perhaps, and a huge expense as well. So it sounds like you could, I mean, I know you have a niche probably of who you help, but everyone needs help with difficult conversations. I think, oh gee, I might go online and do that course as well. I mean, does it suit anyone, or does it suit just work?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had people say to me that they've actually used the skills that they've picked up in the course, you know, to dealing with issues in their private life. I mean, I've put a framework in there for how to tackle any sort of, you know, conversation that you're worried about how to handle. Yeah. And it's not rocket science, but it's just about having a bit of a structure. But also just working out what it is that's causing you to have the problem, because some people just can't come up with the words. And so I've put the words in the course. Or some people just want to be liked. And it's what I find is that you can say to someone, well, that's all good and well, but, you know, is the person that you want to like you going to pay your mortgage for you? Because if they're not, then you need to find a way past that. You know what I mean? You need to, you need to do your job. And quite often it's just about helping people remember that they're getting paid to be a manager. And it's not about confrontation. I think a lot of people think that having a difficult conversation, it needs to be confrontational, and it doesn't. You know, it could be done with kindness and empathy. And if it's done well, I mean, you know, one of the things I guess I'm most proud of is that for the last 18 months during COVID, I've helped my clients bring to an end a lot of people's employment, sadly, and not a single one of my clients has been sued, because we've handled the end of the employment relationships with kindness and, you know, with integrity, and done everything we can to try and help the people who've had to be let go, you know, find new work. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be confrontational.
Yeah, fantastic. And yeah, what's the next thing for Jennifer Bicknell? What are you looking forward to when all this lockdown situation is over? And yeah, Paris, obviously.
I was going to say Paris.
And I noticed on your Facebook you put the bin has had more outings than you have. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully all this is over soon. But it'll be great to get back to doing Business Chicks conferences again. That would be fantastic. So Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your empowerment journey. It sounded like it was an easy transition into adulthood because your parents had given you that really sound grounding of a sense of confidence and that you can achieve, and you really believed it. And I think that's the important thing. You can be told, you know, you can do something, but you have to believe it in yourself. So mindset is such a big thing as well. So congratulations on all your achievements. I look forward to continuing to follow you on Facebook and laugh at your things, but also be inspired and informed as well. So thanks so much for your time, Jennifer. Yeah, I look forward to speaking with you again in the future and seeing where Jennifer Bicknell's headed next.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jennifer. See you.
Bye-bye.